There is a pile of hotness right here. Oh my god, that gun is disgusting. Hey guys, my name is X Factor. Hopefully you're having a great day, and this is one of the first rounds that I've ever used the M95. Got 44,000 kills already in Battlefield 1, and had a blast with this weapon. And my hand was forced, because this is back to basics. Of all the custom game modes available in Battlefield 1, this is by far my favorite, and DICE figured it out. It's actually in the quick match menu, so it's really easy to jump into a round. It is 64-man servers. It's an absolute blast. It is fast-paced. It is predominantly infantry only. There are armored jeeps, and there are, of course, the open cockpit jeeps with the HMGs in the back. But as a sniper, you can't have K-bullets. That is turned off. Everybody has their faction-specific sniper rifle. So my entire team right now is running around with M95s. You can pick whatever pistol your class is entitled to, which we'll cover that in a second. Some thought processes there. But Assault can still have all of their toys. The AT rocket, and of course, the heavy AT grenade, which actually is pretty helpful to have a few Assault players. You will have the M95 still. You can pick your pistol, more than likely the number 3. But when you hit an armored jeep, depending on what map you're playing on, you're doing 67 plus damage depending on where you hit it. So you can make quick work. Now, no one's really got anything to hit a jeep because they're pretty fast moving, and it's smart to keep them moving. You can hit them with a AT nade or a mini or light AT nade, or maybe even an impact. But they could do a ton of destruction. Actually went around in an armored jeep, went around and killed around 30 or 35 people with the help of the pilot, or the captain of the ship, if you will, running people over. Just don't stop moving. Eventually people are going to wise up and bust out some AT rockets and kill you. So this gun is a lot of fun. So here's the premise of the M95. It's unique. It has a low velocity, a high rate of fire, only 5 rounds in the clip, and at any time you load one round in, it loads the entire clip. So no matter if you're reloading on empty or you've got a couple rounds left, it is the same reload time. It also does not have the sweet spot, but it does mad damage up close. And again, if you hit them in the chest, that's where it really counts, not the arms, the legs, so you get that mitigation. It's 90 damage. And even at range, you're hitting in the 70s in the chest, which is great. But don't try to play peekaboo with people at medium and long range. The other good news about this game mode is it's irons only. There is no marksman or long range optics, so keep that in mind, depending on what you're going against. Are you an M95 going against something like the SMLE or the Lee Enfield, which has much better range and a larger clip size, or mag count, if you will? Here you see me busting out the AT rocket to jump into the fort here, and stuff is about to kick off. So keep that in mind. Or do you have the Gewehr M.95, something that's even better at long range? Try to really get into your encounter ranges. And with this guy, due to the low velocity, it's not really great at that medium long or long range unless somebody's standing perfectly still or prone. The round is that slow that if people are shooting, strafing, stopping, shooting, strafing again, you're probably going to miss them, and you're just wasting your ammo. And of course, the hip fire is not too bad. It's actually worked a couple of times. So if you have to pull off a cheeky hip fire, don't be afraid to do that if you're around 10 to 15 feet. Anything outside of that, it gets a little rough. And keep in mind, even though everything is iron sights, you could still be suppressed. Remember, there is no suppression at a range like this, but if somebody is picking at you from long range, you can become suppressed. So even though you have irons, it may be really tough to see the random optic sway, the flinch, and of course the added random bullet deviation. It is there. And there was another hip fire that came through for the headshot. So just like any game mode, it's all about playing the objective. But what I found with this is some of these maps play kind of slow. This plays really fast because pretty much everybody's infantry unless you're smashing them out, and they get a dreadnought. So let's talk about choosing your pistol. Obviously you have your class specific pistols, as I'm whipping a couple potatoes out there, but depending on what weapon you're using, Should have done a little bit more investigating there before I jumped down and noticed half their team was there. Think about this. If you're using something like the M95 and you're in its effective range, which is up close and personal, if you miss their head, you hit them in the chest, that's 90 damage. So would you want the number 3? Or maybe the Frommer? Remember, there's different times to unholster weapons to be able to hip fire them and ADS, and the Frommer is lightning fast. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but it has a pretty good mag count. So if you wing somebody in the arm or in the chest at close and you don't have time for the follow-up shot, or you're low on ammo and just want to switch, the Frommer is a great partner to this. Now let's talk about something like the Gewehr 98, or something which has a much lower rate of fire. It's a lot better at long range, isn't hitting in the chest as hard up close. Maybe the number 3, or the Mars if you're playing sniper. If not, the number 3 is great. Insane sniping power. Headshots up to 90 at point blank range. And then if you're close enough, it's a 2-hit kill in the chest. Remember, they buff the rate of fire and they buff the reload rate. And here we have some little bit of saltiness in the chat, and we got to have a little bit of fun with that. So there you see another strong chest shot. Missed the head there. And of course, using my nades to loosen it up just a little bit. I found that of all the rounds of playing back to basics that I did play, and I've played quite a few of them because, again, this is my favorite game mode that is custom in Battlefield 1 so far, there really wasn't a bad one. But it's a good way to get used to some of the leads and, of course, the drops of some of these bolt actions or snipers or breach loading weapons that you might not be used to. It's a good way to get familiar with it because everybody is having to do it. And again, there is no marksman or long-range optics available in this game mode. So here, I'm just throwing lead downrange and actually get lucky. So that's something that you'll find on the fast-moving targets, where I'm pretty decent at hitting pilots and planes, not that there's planes in this mode, or knocking out the pilots or the gunners and boats. That's really tough. That is really tough with the Gewehr 95 because of the rate of fire is that slow. So it's something that once you get into this game mode, you're going to find certain guns that you really like. And believe it or not, we actually used the Martini 2 or 3 rounds. And it was good using that weapon again. That's actually something I think DICE is going to adjust. Remember, they did fix the damage mitigation. Now when you hit arms and legs, there is damage mitigation and reduction just like every other weapon that is in Battlefield right now. With that said, they might buff the rate of fire. Remember, that was nerfed as well. And maybe the velocity just a little bit. And believe it or not, those 2 or 3 rounds that we used the Martini, we actually win against the SMLE. 10-round mag, higher velocity, and of course, a pretty decent sweet spot as well. And we actually won. And it was a lot of fun going through that because when you're using something that shoots that low, with that low of a velocity, you really have to be careful about how hard you PTFO your positioning, and you gotta be pretty good with the pistol as well. So that was fun and challenging. Another one that was kind of challenging was the Gewehr 98. That's one of the longer range scout weapons available in the game, so you really have to pick your poison there. You really want to get them killed before they get too close to you, depending on what they're using. Then, of course, I know this weapon, you can stay aiming down sight. This is something I probably should have addressed earlier in the video, but that's not my style. It's a Counter-Strike style. It's shoot, un-ADS, strafe around, reacquire off the hip fire, shoot again, start dancing again. Remember, if you're ADS in the game and you're strafing, number 1, you're not accurate if you pull the trigger. Number 2, you're moving much, much slower, which makes you a much easier target. So for me, it's about working on those acquisitions, those quick scopes, if you will, those drag scopes, and not being a free target, as it is absolutely popping off right now, and I'm not sure how I survived. So here you see it took 3 shots with the number 3 because more than likely I winged them in the arm. So the number 3 hits around 53 damage or so if it's in the chest. So that would mean I would need a 3rd shot there. If it would have headshot, body shot, or headshot, arm shot, it'd have been it, because the headshots do up to 90 damage if you are close enough. And these are some wishful thinking shots. Something that I actually might want to get a little closer to before I start firing. But the round is almost done, so why not work on that velocity? If you haven't been playing Back to Basics, you have to give it a try. It's a very fast, fluid game mode. Remember, there's only armored jeeps and open cockpit jeeps and boats. Of course, there are the dreadnoughts and the machines of death if your team gets ahead or too far behind. But it is an absolute blast simply because moments like this happen all the time. Hopefully you guys had a little fun with me playing the M95 for the first time. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'm Burning. I'm out of here, and we'll see you guys soon.